Marsau Scott recently sat down and shared a very raw and eye-opening conversation about Martell Holt. The discussion went in a direction that not many expected. Marsau explained that he had been talking to Martell because, deep down, he was concerned about him. He admitted that he wanted to see Martell get back to who he used to be. Marsau said he is genuinely worried about Martell's mental health and where his mind is at these days. But right away, when that subject came up, people around him brushed it off, even saying, "Forget his mental health." That simple reaction set the tone because it showed that many people have lost patience with Martell and no longer have the energy to make excuses for his behavior. From there, Marsau brought up the recent drama surrounding a video that Martell posted online. According to Marsau, he directly asked Martell why he was dragged into the video, especially since it included false claims and lies that could damage reputations. Martell's response shocked him. Martell told him that the only reason Marsau was included in the video was because, at the reunion, when Martell was trying to explain his side about his case, he looked over at Marsau and saw him staring straight ahead without reacting. Martell admitted that this was intentional, that he had a plan when he put Marsau in that video. Marsau could not believe what he was hearing. He questioned why Martell would take that much time to put together something messy and destructive. For him, that meant Martell had planned, scheduled, and organized a whole strategy just to damage someone else's image. That, to Marsau, showed a diabolical mind at work, one that creates chaos for no reason. The conversation got even more disturbing when Marsau explained how Martell tried to bring up strange stories about him being present during a private situation. Marsau pushed back hard, saying that Martell's story didn't make sense and was full of holes. He even asked Martell some very blunt and shocking questions, like if Martell could describe certain things about his body. Martell could not answer and quickly backed away from those claims. That moment made Marsau realize just how far Martell was willing to go in order to create drama, even if it meant making things up that no one believed. It left Marsau shaking his head, wondering how Martell even came up with these wild stories in the first place. Marsau then said something that really stood out. He admitted that Martell seems to live in his own head, where he makes plans that look better in his imagination than in reality. He explained that Martell creates these plots that sound clever in his mind, but when he tries to act them out in the real world, they fall apart and come off as messy. This is why Marsau called him diabolical, because it takes a certain level of planning and effort to come up with schemes designed to embarrass or harm people. For Marsau, this was a big red flag, and it made him question who Martell really is. He reflected on the bigger picture, saying that everyone keeps talking about wanting to get the old Martell back, but maybe that person never truly existed. Marsau said that people often make excuses, saying Martell changed because of circumstances, but he feels that Martell has always been like this. It's just that now, as a man in his 40s, he no longer has anything holding him back from showing who he really is. Marsau's take was blunt. At some point in life, people stop changing and simply reveal their true character. When Martell wants to be a nice guy, he can be, but when he doesn't, he shows an ugly side with no hesitation. This led Marsau to a big realization about Martell's personality. He explained that after watching and dealing with him for years, he now understands what makes Martell tick. According to Marsau, Martell wants a fight. He thrives on conflict. He feeds off confrontation. That is why he stirs up so much drama, even with the people closest to him. But Marsau made it clear that he has no intention of physically fighting Martell. He said his goal is to make sure that kind of thing never happens. Instead, he wants to address the situation with accountability, honesty, and boundaries. Still, his words revealed that deep down, Martell's energy pushes people toward aggression, whether they want it or not. At that point, Kimmy joined the conversation, and her perspective brought balance. While Maurice seemed to still believe that Martell is a good guy at heart, Kimmy was much more realistic. She said that she thinks she has a clearer understanding of Martell than Maurice does. In her opinion, Martell has not been on the right track for a long time. She sees through the excuses and feels that at this stage, the Martell people are hoping to see again may not even exist anymore. Her words hit hard because they came from a place of observation and experience, not just friendship. Marsau then explained that friendships sometimes reach a point where they are simply not worth the stress anymore. He admitted that he has thought about whether continuing to deal with Martell is worth the headaches and constant tension. But even with those feelings, he said he was still planning to invite Martell to a guy's outing later in the week. When Maurice heard that, he asked if Marsau was really okay with Martell being there, especially since they had all this tension. Marsau surprised him by saying yes, he wanted to go, even though he had no intention of sitting down and having a deep talk with Martell. That moment showed just how complicated their relationship has become. On one hand, Marsau knows Martell is toxic, unpredictable, and full of lies. On the other hand, he doesn't want to completely cut him off, maybe because of history, maybe because of loyalty, or maybe because he still hopes for some form of resolution. Maurice, however, was confused by this. He wanted to know if the whole purpose of the outing was to address the issues or just to have fun and hang out as a group. Marsau was clear that for him, it was more about bringing everyone together, even though accountability would still be on the table. That's when accountability became the keyword in the conversation. Maurice stressed that Martell needed to take accountability, but Marsau flipped it back and said accountability goes both ways. He even pointed out that Maurice himself had things to own up to, not just Martell. That statement caused some tension because nobody likes to be called out, but Marsau stood firm. He said that as far as he's concerned, he is fine with where things stand, and if Martell is fine with it too, then that is their version of accountability. He declared that he wasn't taking anything back and wasn't going to keep revisiting the past. In his words, moving forward meant standing firm, not lying, and not pretending to make peace when there is none. The way Marsau described Martell in that conversation painted a picture of a man who is lost, manipulative, and driven by conflict. He pointed out how Martell puts more effort into creating drama than into actually improving his life. The schemes, the videos, the false stories, the confrontational attitude, it all showed someone who wants a fight more than he wants peace. And while Maurice might still hold on to hope that Martell has a good side waiting to be seen again, both Marsau and Kimmy made it clear that this behavior is not new. It has always been part of him. As the conversation wrapped up, Marsau made it plain that he has no interest in being dragged into Martell's lies or mess anymore. He might still show up at events with him. He might still share space with him. But he is no longer investing in the idea of changing him or helping him get back to a version of himself that might not even exist. He knows now that Martell is who he is, and nothing anyone says or does will change that. In the end, the conversation highlighted just how strained and broken these friendships have become. What used to be a bond based on brotherhood has now turned into a cycle of lies, accusations, and mistrust. Marsau is tired of the games. Kimmy sees the reality clearly. Maurice is still holding on to hope. And Martell? He seems to be stuck in the same patterns, refusing to face the truth, and constantly chasing the next fight.